The Merchant of Shadows. In the golden era of the Mali Empire, when trade routes stretched from the depths of the Sahara to the rich forests of West Africa, there was a merchant named Malik. Known for his sharp wit and a charm that could sell sand to a Bedouin, Malik was a man of ambition and dreams. He traveled with a caravan of camels laden with spices, silks, and precious stones, always searching for the next opportunity to expand his wealth. But Malik was different from other merchants. He was also a seeker of magic and the unknown, drawn to the mysteries whispered about in the bazaars and around campfires. One evening, in the bustling market of Timbuktu, a city renowned for its scholars and traders, Malik overheard a tale that caught his attention. A frail old storyteller, her face lined with age and wisdom, spoke of a hidden city deep in the Sahara. Takara, she called it, a place invisible to most, where riches beyond imagination were guarded by powerful jinn. Only those pure of heart or exceptionally cunning could hope to find it. Malik's curiosity was piqued. He had heard many legends in his travels, but there was something in the old woman's voice, a certainty, that convinced him this was no mere story. Malik approached her after the crowd dispersed. "Tell me more about Takara," he said, slipping a gold coin into her hand. The old woman looked up, her eyes gleaming in the firelight. "Takara is not found on any map, merchant. It exists beyond the reach of ordinary men, in a realm where the living meet the spirits. It is said that one must seek the shadows of the desert to find the city. But beware, for many who sought it were never seen again." Malik, undeterred by the warning, decided he would be the one to find Takara. He believed his cleverness and courage were enough to outwit any danger. The following day, he set off with his most trusted companions, a small group of skilled traders and guards, and his prized possession, a jeweled amulet he had won in a game of chance. This amulet, he believed, was his lucky charm. Days turned into weeks as Malik's caravan pushed deeper into the desert. The sun blazed relentlessly, and the nights were filled with eerie silence, broken only by the distant howls of unseen creatures. Yet, Malik pressed on, driven by the thought of treasures and magic beyond his wildest dreams. One night, as the moon cast long shadows over the dunes, Malik awoke to find himself alone. The camp was empty. One night, as the moon cast long shadows over the dunes, Malik awoke to find himself alone. The camp was empty, his men and camels vanished without a trace. Panic gripped his heart, but he quickly steadied himself. "It's a trick of the desert," he muttered. "They will return." But as dawn broke, it became clear he was truly alone. His provisions were gone, and all that remained was the amulet around his neck. Exhausted and desperate, Malik wandered aimlessly until he came across an ancient stone marker half buried in the sand. Strange symbols were etched into its surface, symbols that seemed to shift and change as he stared at them. He felt a strange pull, an invisible force guiding him deeper into the desert. He had no choice but to follow. After what felt like hours, he came upon a strange sight, a vast expanse of sand, perfectly smooth, with no footprints or signs of life. In the center stood a solitary figure cloaked in black. Malik approached cautiously. "Who are you?" he called out, but the figure remained silent. As he drew nearer, he saw that the figure had no face, only a shadow where features should have been. Suddenly, the shadow spoke, its voice a whisper on the wind. "You seek Takara, merchant, but you do not understand the price of such a quest. You must give up something of great value, something you hold dear." Malik clutched the amulet at his chest. "This is all I have left," he said, "and I will not part with it." The shadow laughed, a sound like dry leaves rustling in the wind. "It is not your amulet I seek, but your heart's desire. Are you willing to pay the price, Malik?" Determined to continue, Malik nodded. "I will pay it." The shadow extended a hand, and Malik felt a sharp pain in his chest, as if something had been torn from him. He gasped but remained standing. The shadow then vanished, and before him, a gateway appeared, shimmering with an otherworldly light. Without hesitation, Malik stepped through. On the other side, Malik found himself in a lush oasis, unlike anything he had seen before. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and a river of pure crystal water flowed gently through the landscape. In the distance, he saw a city of gold, its towers reaching toward the heavens. This was Takara. As he approached the city, he was greeted by its inhabitants, beings of light and shadow, their forms constantly shifting. They welcomed him with open arms, their voices melodic and soothing. "You have found Takara," they said. "You are the first to do so in many generations. You shall be our honored guest." Malik was led through streets paved with precious stones, past markets overflowing with jewels and spices, to a grand palace at the heart of the city. There, on a throne of crystal, sat the Queen of Takara, a being of immense beauty and grace, her presence radiating power. "Welcome, Malik," she said, her voice like music. "You have proven yourself worthy by finding this place. But remember, Takara is a city of illusions. Here, reality bends, and time does not flow as it does in the world, you know." Malik, overwhelmed by the splendor around him, barely heard her words. He was given a chamber filled with treasures beyond his wildest dreams, and every night, a feast was laid out in his honor. He soon lost track of time, indulging in the city's wonders, forgetting his life before Takara. However, as the days turned to weeks, Malik began to notice strange occurrences. His reflection in the mirror grew fainter, and his shadow seemed to have a life of its own, moving independently of him. He felt a growing emptiness inside, a void that no amount of gold or jewels could fill. One night, as he lay in his chamber, he was visited by a figure cloaked in shadow, the same one he had encountered in the desert. "You have enjoyed the fruits of Takara," it said, "but now it is time to pay the full price." Malik's heart pounded in his chest. "What do you mean?" he demanded. "I gave you my desire, my quest for Takara." The shadow shook its head. "That was only the beginning. The true cost of Takara is your soul. Here, you will remain, a shadow among shadows, until the end of time." Horrified, Malik realized the truth of the shadow's words. He had been so consumed by his desire for wealth and magic that he had ignored the warnings. Now, he was trapped in a city of illusions, his soul bound to a place that was not of this world. Desperate to escape, Malik searched the city for a way out. He confronted the queen, begging for his freedom, but she merely smiled. "You chose this path, Malik. You sought Takara with all your heart. Now you must live with that choice." But Malik was not one to give up easily. He remembered the old storyteller's words about the city being invisible to most and that only those pure of heart or cunning could find it. If he had found it once, perhaps he could find a way out. He realized that his cunning had brought him here, but only purity of heart could set him free. Determined to redeem himself, Malik sought to help the other lost souls of Takara. He shared his treasures with them, offered his wisdom, and slowly, the emptiness inside him began to fade. As he helped others, he felt a lightness in his being, and his shadow started to follow him once more. One day, while aiding a lost traveler who had been ensnared by the city's illusions, Malik felt a familiar pull in his chest, like the one he had felt in the desert. He closed his eyes and followed the sensation, letting it guide him. When he opened his eyes, he found himself standing at the edge of the city, facing a vast desert. Behind him, Takara shimmered, its golden towers fading into the mist. Before him lay the endless dunes of the Sahara. Malik took a deep breath and stepped forward, leaving Takara behind. As he walked away, he felt a weight lift from his shoulders, and a sense of peace washed over him. He had lost much in Takara, but he had gained something far more valuable: wisdom and a true understanding of what mattered most. Malik returned to Timbuktu a changed man. He no longer sought wealth or power, but instead chose to share his stories and the lessons he had learned. He became a beloved figure, known not for his riches, but for his kindness and wisdom. And so, the tale of Malik, the merchant who found Takara and chose to leave its illusions behind, became a legend in the deserts of Africa. A story of greed, magic, and redemption, passed down from generation to generation, reminding all who heard it of the true price of desire and the value of a pure heart.